Hey everyone, I'm Ultima456, here are the Ultimates, and welcome to episode 43 of Let's Platinum Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. Well, now that we've decided to believe Hiyoko, now what?
If the killer was luring Hiyoko into a trap, then something that was used there might be a clue.
Do you mean the letter?
No, it was probably the gummy.
Huh? Candy can be a clue?
Hey, when you woke up, was the gummy already there?
Now that you mention it, I feel like it wasn't.
Just as I thought.
Just as you thought?
If the killer planted evidence while Hiyoko was there, she would have thrown it away if she found it.
Which means the gummy was placed inside the closet after Hiyoko fled from the beach house?
The killer returned to the scene of the crime? After I left?
They wouldn't have to do something that troublesome as long as they hid somewhere within the beach house.
That's impossible! There's nowhere to hide! I even glanced inside the shower room as I was running away, but there was nobody there.
Then, does that mean the killer came back?
I wonder. At any rate, the solution to that problem is connected to what really happened. That's what I think.
I want to play a new game. Is that what you're thinking? If so, we've prepared the perfect product for you. You will dive into your own brain and logically discern the mysterious answer from several questions. It's called the Logic Dive. During the Logic Dive, you will control a version of yourself created from an image within your brain. Your task is to reach the goal, the final destination of the Synapse course. You can move sideways with the left stick and accelerate with the R1 button. Press the circle button to brake and the L1 button to jump. There will be various obstacles you will encounter as you progress through the course, so make sure you're familiar with these controls so you can reach the goal. On your journey, you will take damage every time you fall into a gap or bump into walls. Also, upon reaching a certain point, there will be branching questions in the course. The answers split into different paths, so please proceed down the path of the answer you think is correct. Branching questions will appear several times in one course. Please be careful. I highly recommend that you make good use of the brake. That's my meddlesome advice for you. If you press the options button during the logic dive, you can review the controls. Well then, good luck and have fun. She's right. This might be a very important problem. If the killer tampered with the evidence after Hiyoko ran away from the beach house, when did the killer arrive and depart from the beach house? Think. If I just focus and think about it, I'm sure I'll be able to find the answer. Alright, I'm gonna do it. Alright, so this is a cool thing. I don't think this was in the original or in the first game. So basically we just have to use logic to work out the answers. Okay, so we hold R1 to go faster, you press triangle to jump, and you press circle to brake. You can buy a few skills from Monami which makes this go even faster, which I'd actually kind of like to get, but yeah. When did the killer arrive at the beach house? So you can hold brake a little bit here. So, did they arrive after or before? Well, the answer is before. That one kind of have to guess in a way. There might be something that leads to that I'm not thinking of at the moment because I'm trying to do this. But yeah, they arrived before. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, I think this is really cool. The only reason that I don't buy is because I don't have enough. You don't have enough crystals to. When did the killer leave the beach house? They left after Hiyoko left because we only saw Hiyoko leave. So whenever they left, it must have been after that. Like when we were in the Hajime and what's his face? Kazuichi were in the diner, they only saw Hiyoko. So whoever the killer was must have left after. And finally, where was the killer hiding while Hiyoko was unconscious? They were hiding in the beach house. Can't hide on the beach, it's just the beach. So yeah. Alright, and that's it. Woohoo!
It's all coming together!
But where in the beach house did they hide?
Do you think the killer might have been hiding?
You spent all that time thinking just to say something so pointless. How disappointing. Didn't I just say there was nowhere to hide? Do I have to explain it in another language so you can understand?
Her personality got a hell of a lot more forceful once she stopped being a suspect.
No, there should have been a place for them to hide. A place you didn't look, Hiyoko.
What are you saying? Stop being annoying or I'm gonna make Akane bop you on the head and shut you up for good!
I really don't want that to happen to me. I need to answer, by any means. The place where the killer was hiding. The place where Hiyoko hasn't looked is... And this is a tricky one, because this is kind of like when you're doing a multiple choice question, you get C 17 times in a row, and you're like, there's no way they did that. But the answer is the closet again.
The killer was probably hiding in the closet.
The closet? That's where I was locked up!
After you woke up, you said you rushed out of there, right? Then you probably didn't look inside the closet very carefully.
But could two people even hide in such a small place? And without Hiyoko knowing?
That's why the killer made sure to arrange a hiding place.
If the killer made sure to arrange a hiding place in advance, I can only think of one place. That's right, the place where the killer was hiding inside the closet was... And if you paid attention during this part, you'll remember that the surfboards here were not in their cases, so the killer hid right here.
Here! What about the surfboard case in the closet? I'm pretty sure they could have hidden in there.
Huh? Inside the surfboard case?
But the shelf it was on, it was pretty messy, don't you think? 2 surfboards were stacked on the top shelf. And there were surfboards that weren't even in a case. The killer probably did that on purpose to secure a hiding place. 'Cause we haven't been on this island that long, so the closet shouldn't have been that messy, I think.
Then, the killer was close to me during that time?
Yeah, they were quietly holding their breath and hiding very close to you.
It's kinda like in for a penny, in for a pound, so to speak.
Don't you mean it's always darkest under the lighthouse?
I've never heard that one before. It's always darkest under the lighthouse, but it makes sense.
I shouldn't say things I don't understand, like, so to speak.
Anyway, the killer hid silently, and after making sure Hiyoko left, they finally left the surfboard case.
I agree with that as well.
Seriously, nobody asked what you think.
There's no way the killer would leave Hiyoko by herself if they were trying to frame her. If Hiyoko was left alone and ruined the evidence the killer had planted, it would have messed up their plan. Instead, it makes more sense to think that the killer was hiding in the beach house, watching Hiyoko.
Saying whatever you want, even if we didn't ask. All right, if you don't want to friggin' get punched, just stand still and let me punch ya! Oh, you shut up. Then, grit your teeth.
Sorry, Akane. It's not like that. Hey, Monokuma. Can I ask you about something that seems strange to me?
I believe Prince Shotoku was from the future. A man from the future is always directing the flow of history.
I'm gonna need a reference check on this one. I have no idea what this is referencing.
I'll listen to your story about men from the future some other time.
I'm assuming it's an anime of some kind.
As I recall, the body discovery announcement is made when 3 or more people discover a body, right?
Okay, this is extremely important because if I'm not mistaken, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it shouldn't be too bad. What is about to happen here never happens in any other case in the series, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So pay very, very close attention.
Is the killer also included? Among those 3 or more people?
Yeah, that's true, but, something like that is basically what it's supposed to be.
You don't sound very articulate.
Jeez! You're pretty annoying for noticing something like that! I know it sounds like an excuse, but the body discovery announcement isn't supposed to be used for deduction.
That seems really dumb because despite what I just said, the body discovery announcement was used for deduction in the first game, but the specific thing that I'm talking about here with what they're saying, I think is true. So let's keep going.
It's intended to create a fair trial. It's supposed to let everyone know a body has been found.
So you're saying it's unfortunate that I used it for deduction? I understand your excuse, but depending on who actually found the body, it's possible that your 3 or more people rule could be deadly.
Well, as long as I keep things ambiguous, I can respond to situations with some flexibility.
Flexibility, huh? So what about this time? Is it 3 people including the killer or not?
Jeez, fine. You want me to say it? It doesn't include the killer this time, okay? All done.
Which means 3 people other than the killer discovered Mahiru's body.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I just thought it was somewhat strange. More importantly, let's get back to our original topic.
You're the one who went on a tangent.
We were just saying the killer was hiding in the surfboard case, right?
And after Hyoko ran away, the killer got to enjoy the simple life of destroying evidence.
However, before we proceed any further, there's something we have to make clear. The killer blocked the roadside door with Mahiru's body before Hyoko ran away. But what about the blood?
Now that you mention it, that mystery hasn't been solved yet.
It's going to be all right. If you guys have come this far, I'm sure you can discover that answer too. Now, let's start the argument, shall we?
Now then, I shall explain to you the final feature in the non-stop debates. From this point forward, you will now be able to use the truth flashback. If you hold down the triangle button, the shape of the reticle will change. If you aim at the remark's weak spot and keep it in that position, you will be able to memorize it. This memorized phrase can only be fired once as a single truth bullet. If you shoot or change to a different truth bullet, it will disappear from your truth cylinder. However, you can use this flashback feature as many times as you want. If you don't seem to have the answer to a lie or a mistake in your available truth bullets, it might be wise to memorize a different weak spot and use that to make your case. When's the best time to flashback? Well, you'll just have to trust your keen wits, won't you? By the way, you will not be able to agree with anyone while you're using the truth flashback. Please remember that it is only effective when refuting points. Well then, good luck and have fun. Alright, here we go. Let's see if we can figure out how to solve this argument. Okay, so we only have access to the shower room. Interesting.
What did the killer do with the blood on their body?
Maybe they simply washed it off.
They couldn't use the shower, right? So washing it off would have been impossible.
They didn't have to use the shower. Oh, what about the wetsuits in the closet? Maybe they wore one when they moved the body. If they used something other than the shower...
What did they do with the bloody wetsuit?
They cut it up and... Whoosh.
As someone who flushes their shit every morning, I can declare it would definitely clog the toilet.
Maybe it's the other way around? Perhaps someone other than the killer moved the body?
Maybe they were able to wash it off.
Okay, so there were a few agreeing points there. If I use that person's opinion, I might be able to break through the contradiction. So there are a few
What did the killer do with the blood on their body?
Maybe they simply
and a lot of
washed
agree
it off.
points.
They couldn't use the shower, so washing it off would have been impossible.
They didn't have to use the shower. What about the wetsuits in the closet? Maybe they wore one when they moved the body. If they used something other than the shower...
So we need other than the
What did they do
shower.
with the bloody
They cut it up and...
As someone who flushes their shit, it would definitely clog the toilet.
Maybe it's the
And
other
based
way
on the way that you're
around. Someone
supposed to
other than
use
the killer moved the body.
Maybe
truth
they were able to
flashbacks.
wash it off.
We need to use it against Fuyuhiko's remark. And also,
did the killer
I
do with
keep
the
forgetting
blood
to
on
mention
their
this, but
body?
keep shooting the...
Maybe they simply
white
washed it
noise.
off.
They couldn't use the shower, right? So washing it off would have been impossible.
No, that's wrong.
If they just needed to wash off the blood, they didn't necessarily have to use the shower. They could have just as easily used something else.
Something other than the shower. Like what?
Something other than the shower that was used to wash off the blood. It's possible it was the drinks inside the refrigerator.
I see! Drinks inside the refrigerator. Couldn't the killer have used those to wash off the blood?
I've seen through it. In theory, but that's impossible.
But why?
Try to remember the refrigerator carefully, and then you will understand that there's no possible way the drinks in the refrigerator were used.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
It's true there were drinks in the beach house refrigerator. However, try one bottled drink is simply not enough. It wouldn't be enough to wash off the blood.
I can't back down!
Okay, if this happens, you just have to press the X button a few times.
We can't assume they used just one drink. They could have used a bunch of them to wash it off.
Didn't I say it was impossible? There were no water bottles in the refrigerator.
Allow me to cut through those words!
Okay, so use trash can, sword.
Oh, there were water bottles inside the refrigerator.
How many times do I have to tell you? There were no water bottles in there whatsoever.
That was after the incident, right? But before the incident, there were water bottles in the fridge. And the killer took all of those water bottles and used them to wash the blood off their body.
So you're saying the water bottles were gone? Because they were all used? That's a logical fallacy.
It's not a fallacy. There should have been evidence inside the trash can. Evidence like a lot of thrown away plastic water bottles. Isn't that right, Chiaki?
Ah, you're right. These bottles look like they may have been filled with water.
Well, now that you mention it, when I went to the beach house a few days ago, I feel like I drank one of those plastic water bottles.
Huh? You should have said so sooner. Then, the plastic water bottles were used in place of the shower.
Dousing your body with lots of water bottles is such a simple and easy to understand explanation.
Hold on a sec. Now that I think about it, if they soaked their entire body with a bunch of plastic water bottles, if they did that, that person would
It
be...
seems you've realized who the killer is. See? Just as I thought.
Hold on. You know who the killer is?
Is that true?
Let me ask, who might that be?
If the killer used plastic water bottles to wash off the blood that splattered onto them, that killer, Mahiru's killer, must be that person. The only one who had water on them is you, Pekoyama.
You're the only one! Peko. Is it you?
Hey, what are you being quiet for? They're accusing you of being the killer.
Then I should ask you this. Why do you believe I'm the killer?
I remember when we were all meeting up to go to the beach. Your appearance when you came to the diner.
I gotta say, the way that they drew her here, like with the water coming off of her body, is like pretty much, I feel like exactly what she would look like if she used that water to wash off the blood. And plus that water is would have been freezing because it was from the refrigerator, so she's like, you know, she's hard. She's hard, bro. Hajime and Kazuichi, why are you two here? Hey, aren't you breathing pretty heavily? I just did a little swimming.
If the killer really did wash the blood off with water bottles, they'd have to drench their entire body. But there were no towels in the beach house, and it would have taken a while for the water to fully air dry. So you said you went swimming so you'd have a cover story.
Don't just stay silent! Say something!
Hold on, you bastard! You saw her at the diner! You never saw her near the beach house, right? So maybe she really was swimming!
No one even saw her swimming.
No. I saw her.
Huh?
After I ran into you bastards at the diner, I crossed paths with her on my way home. So there's no doubt. She would have arrived at the diner from the opposite direction of the beach house.
Hold on. That's strange. Didn't you just say this earlier?
It's just a coincidence that I passed by the diner. I didn't even pay attention to the beach house. I went straight back to the hotel after I saw you guys. Didn't see anyone during that time.
You told me you didn't see anyone. Don't try to tell me you forgot about that.
Not so fast! It's too soon to decide she's a killer!
Is that really true? Well, we're gonna find out next time. I want to thank you all for watching episode 43 of Let's Platinum Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair. My name's Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and I'll see you next time.